Videos on the Dano channel are intended for audiences 13 and above. If you are 12 and under, please only watch with parental supervision. While my intended audience is PG-13, rest assured content is always family friendly and always will be. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dano channel. I am Dano and I'm back with another Mandalorian chapter review. It's going to be chapter 6, The Prisoner, or do I think The Prisoner, just Prisoner? I don't know. Either way, let's get right into this. My format here is to basically, I watch the show right as it comes out, right at midnight. And then I take screenshots of stuff that I found interesting. And we're just basically going to review those screenshots. And this is kind of like my second, maybe third, like second and a half viewing is going through these screenshots with you guys. And just kind of sharing what I think. And then at the end I ask for you guys to comment below, either to correct me on stuff that I missed, because there is definitely stuff I miss. I'll usually have some kind of question to ask, like, okay, what is this? What did you think this was? So here, let's just get right into this thing. Boom, there we go. First thing is first. This episode opens up with the Razor Crest going into this space station. It just like lands in this little space station, and we meet some interesting characters. So I've got my little list of the extra characters. The bald guy right there, that's Bill Burr, comedian Bill Burr, who I love comedy and I love comedians, but I've never gotten into Bill Burr. Honestly, he seems, I don't know him and I don't mean to slight him, but just what I've seen him in, he seems kind of like a jerk. He seems like a sleazeball, which means they cast him perfectly in this show. So that's a compliment to him. But he plays Mayfeld, a former Imperial sniper or sharpshooter, I think they said. Next to him is the Deveronian Burr, played by Clancy Brown. Now, Clancy Brown, well, you can see his face up there in the artwork and the thing up there. But Clancy Brown, you might know him from Shawshank Redemption. You might know him as Mr. Krabs. That's terrible Mr. Krabs, but Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob, he's done a ton of voices. Huge voiceover artist. It's really cool to see him in Star Wars being physical. And then this guy closer to me with the long gray hair and the beard, that is a character named Ran, R-A-N, Ran, played by Mark Boone Jr. He's been in stuff like Memento, Batman, so you kind of have an idea as to who's who. Next up, who do we meet? Oh, episode is called The Prisoner. There you go. Oh, we got to meet, what is her name? Her name is Xian. She's a Twi'lek. Xian the Twi'lek. And she was played by Natalia Tena. I've got notes. Natalia Tena. I thought she was so familiar in this episode. I was like, wait, why does she seem so familiar? She's in Game of Thrones. She was the wildling that went with Bran and took the kids everywhere. So she's in Game of Thrones. And she's also from Harry Potter, which I'm not super into Harry Potter movies, but you might recognize her from Harry Potter movies. What else do we got here? Next up, of course, Baby Yoda. So the gist is, in this episode, the new crew of people, they've hired Mando because he needs to make some more money. I just don't get why he landed on the space station. I don't think we got that. He just landed there. It's like, boom, we just accept it. I would have liked to know why, but also the fact that it doesn't matter why is a little annoying. It's like it feels like filler, kind of. I still found the episode wonderful and I still loved it, but overall, we're starting to get to this feeling where it feels kind of like filler because it doesn't really progress the story a whole lot. But in this story, speaking of which, I know I'm contradicting myself, but in the story of this episode, this team, who apparently he has history with, Ran and Mando have some kind of history. You can tell. And actually, what's her name? Not Kira. I want to say Kira. Xian. She has history with Mando too. It seems like they maybe had a little relationship business going. They was rocking the boots or something. I don't know. But it seemed like there was definitely some history there. It was really interesting. I'm like, oh, okay, Mando and a Twi'lek. Yeah. So this team, who's Xian, there's also a droid named Zero. I didn't get a screenshot of him, but he was played by Richard I don't know how to say that, but he's the guy from the IT crowd. He's in that weird alien movie with Vince Vaughn. He's been in a bunch of stuff. But if you look him up, you'll see. But I think he might have actually been in the robot suit, because there's a lot of hand movement from that Robot Zero. And I didn't recognize what kind of droid that was. If you know, If you know what kind of droid that was, sorry it's late, but if you know what kind of droid that was, leave it down in the comment below, because I'm not sure what kind of droid Zero was. He looked familiar, like a protocol droid, but I couldn't quite place what he was. All right. Oh, look at this. So either way, they've hired Mando to go do a job. They need him to go do a thing, and you gotta follow Bill Burr, who you know is an ex-Imperial and kind of a jerk, and he's the man in charge. So they take over his ship. They take over the Razor Crest. The droid gets in there, and he like kicks Mando out. I was like, no, I'm piloting. I'm doing this. The whole thing just feels shady. The whole thing's like, okay, something weird's going down. And Bill Burr, of course, like I said, plays a sleazeball, and he's kind of a jerk. And he finds Baby Yoda. There he is. Baby Yoda looks up, and he's just like, oh no, oh my goodness. Baby Yoda's like the most adorable thing on Earth. We don't deserve him. And the droid goes for this crazy fast landing that I was like, oh my gosh, this is like super fast. The Razor Crest is like zipping around, getting in there, and it lands hard. And I yelled out loud at this point where Baby Yoda falls on the floor and like thuds. I was like, oh. I want to go back through and frame by frame it and see it happen, just because I'm a weirdo. But I was like, it shocked me. It definitely shocked me. And he fell on the floor, and of course Mando picks him up. This is one of the things I thought was neat. This reminded me of Empire Strikes Back, when they're going to go pick up Luke, when Lando grabs like the hook because he's going to get Luke out from the thing. It reminds me of that, because that's kind of the Falcon little thing where Luke falls through at the end of Empire Strikes Back from Cloud City. And it also reminds me of Rogue One. There's a scene when Jyn Erso needs to like climb up a thing, just like time it, because it keeps closing when they're on Scarif. And so it just kind of cool to see that stuff again in Star Wars. Next up, that droid. I recognize that droid from the Sandcrawler scene on A New Hope. Pretty sure that droid's in like the lineup. I know it's in A New Hope for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's where we saw that droid. Just another background character. They're breaking a guy out of prison. They're breaking a Twi'lek out of prison. Happens to be that Xi'an girl's brother, who is, funny enough, his name is Quinn, or Quinn. I think it's Quinn. Quin is what it showed. But they're breaking him out of prison, and we'll talk about him in a little bit. But for now, that is a Ardinian, like we saw in Solo, who was voiced in Solo. That was Rio Durant, who was voiced by Jon Favreau, who's the producer and writer and running most of the show, along with Dave Filoni, which we'll also get to later in this episode. So there is Berg, and he's messing with a mouse droid, just being kind of a jerk. This is a cool scene. I like seeing the mouse droid roll up and go and do his little thing. It's cute. Of course, he blows it up and gets all these droids to come. Like this scene where those are HK droids, right? Those are like HK-47, right? That's his name, from Knights of the Old Republic. Those are HK assassin droids. That's so cool. That is so cool. And there's a bunch of them in this episode. But what was neat, I think in the last picture you can see it there, they are definitely resistant. Or not I guess New Republic. At this point, it's New Republic. You can tell because it's the rebellion symbol, but with the little tiny stars circling it. So it's the New Republic. And they have got a bunch of HK-47 or HK droids. We don't know the exact designation or the number. But wow, like that was cool to see that. I love that they keep bringing the nostalgia. They keep busting out the old stuff in these shows. So there it is. Is there an episode where he's not going to use that fireball thing? There's probably one or two, but still, I feel like he's definitely all about the fire gauntlet. All right, so next up, they find a guard. Of course, he looks old school. He's in the right garb, but I like the blue, and they kind of make fun of his boots. He actually, like, to me, he reminds me of a mixture of the Canto Bight Police and the Rebel Troopers on Tena 4 in the beginning of A New Hope. It's like a mix of two. It's like a hybrid right in between. Speaking of Canto Bight, Bill Burr does make a Canto Bight reference early on in the show, and I thought that was really cool. And there's Bill Burr again. Of course, they have a Mexican standoff. This wouldn't be a Western without a Mexican standoff, right? I'm shooting this guy, but this guy wants to shoot him, and it's a triple. In this case, I think it's 4, right? It's Bill Burr, the D. Vernon Berg, the New Republic guard, and Mando. And so it was like everybody's. I'm shooting you, but you're shooting me, but I can't. And the Mexican standoff, I love it. It reminded me of Reservoir Dogs, which is like my favorite Mexican standoff moment. So that was kind of cool to see that too. Next, okay, so they break out Quinn. Now this guy, Quinn, Quin, he's a Twi'lek, and it seems to be related, I think, brothers with, what's her name, Shira? I got a Jian. But Quinn, funny enough, is played by Ismael Cruz Cordova, who I did not know much about. So I went to IMDb and I looked him up. I'm like, okay, I don't know anything you've been in, dude. I don't know who you are. You don't really seem super familiar. But I noticed a credit on his IMDb page. He was in Sesame Street. And guess who he played? A character by the name of Mando, Mando, like Mando, but it would be Mando because they have a lot of like ethnic, and he's probably like a Cuban or something, something like that. He's Mando. So it was cool that it was just kind of funny, weird coincidence. He's like, oh, he's on the Mandalorian, Mando, but he played a character named Mando, Mando, same spelling. I just thought it was peculiar and thought you guys might enjoy that. But he was a jerk, and he definitely had history with Mando, Mandalorian. And so he did a little switcheroo. There's a lot of double cross this episode. Double crossed him, got him to just locked him up in prison. Of course, he breaks out. What's Baby Yoda? I guess we're back to Baby Yoda. So Baby Yoda, meanwhile, this droid Zero is on the ship, like kind of, being the guy keeping the car running so they can get out of there after they break out this prisoner, this Twi'lek Queen. And he like notices, hey, Baby Yoda's in here. What's going on? And of course, look at Baby Yoda. Oh my goodness. Okay. So this screenshot, there's a lot of cutting and moving around back and forth, but this screenshot, I did these all in chronological order. The reason I picked this screenshot is because during the double cross, because the whole team basically double crosses Mando. Once they rescue the prisoner, they all just double cross him, leave him in there for dead, and they're trying to get out as soon as possible. But Mando, being as cool as he is, I mean, the one way I would describe Mandalorian, like the character, this week is badass. He was cool, man. The way he took out those HK droids the first time we saw him was really cool. He busted out every weapon. He took them out. And it kind of makes up for the last few episodes where we've seen him kind of get weaker. Like, they've really... The first episode or two made him seem like, oh no, this guy's unstoppable. And then the next few episodes, they weakened him a little bit. They made him a little soft. And it's kind of nice to see that come back around. And now it's like, no, he's not soft. He can do both. He can do both. So with all that, he is total badass this whole episode. But he's stuck in prison. He manages to break out because he's such a badass. And during that chaos of him trying to get back at this other team, the Twi'lek, Bill Burr, and the Deveronian guy, the camera work's going crazy. It's like red, but then there's like white flashes, like kind of disorienting, and they use odd camera angles, which is why I really liked this particular screenshot, because I was like, oh, that's a different kind of, like, you're shooting that from the bottom, looking up at a weird angle, and it just really stuck out to me. I was like, that's cool direction. I like how they did that. All right, next up. Oh, this is the droid Zero we've been talking about. And again, I can't place what kind of droid that is. It's a protocol droid for sure, but I don't know what those bug eyes are. I just don't know that one. All right, there's a Deveronian. So part of Mando getting back at everybody is the Deveronian, who is like just talking smack to Mando like the whole time since he met him. And again, that's Clancy. That's Mr. Krabs. And he gets him by the neck. And I could tell this moment right here where he gets caught by the neck and Mando's up top in like the grate in the ceiling. I just knew it. I was like, oh no, this big strong guy, he's going to pull Mando down to the floor. And he did. He absolutely did. And they get into a fight. And this scene right here, in their fight, where Mando busts out that flame thing again, to me, it was like a cool aha moment. So he hits the Deveronian, who's like a devil-looking guy, you can see him up there, with fire. And of course, because he's like a little devil, the fire does nothing. Of course. We didn't know that until now, or at least I didn't know that until now. And that was just a funny, like, to me, that was a cute moment. I was like, yeah, of course the fire doesn't work on that guy. I thought it was cool. Oh, there he is. And of course, this guy, like, he shuts the door on him. You think he gets smashed by the door, and then he, like, lifts it up, only to get smashed by the side doors. And I honestly thought it was going to be, like, I thought it was brutal, like, oh, he lost his head. And they did that to us twice in this scene. And at the end, we'll see at the very end, everybody lives, which is something that I think we need to kind of talk about for a second as far as expectations of this show. I've seen a lot of people in like Facebook posts and like even prior to the show coming out, people saying stuff like, oh no, it's going to be dark and it's going to be gritty and it's going to be more violent. And I can't, I just looked into it. I mean, that's rumored. And it has been darker. It's a little bit darker than like the cartoons like Resistance and stuff and Rebels. It is, but it's also on Disney Plus. It's like PG-13, but it's also on Disney Plus. So it's not going to be gory. Even the scene, the fact that like everybody lives, the fact that this guy survived, all that. It's never going to be as gritty or dark as people's expectations are. But when I saw that, someone's like, oh no, this last episode sucked. This was like a week ago. This last episode sucked because he was too soft and blah, blah, blah. And we were told it's going to be gritty and like raw and it's for adults. And I was like, Disney never said that. Favreau never said that. They said it'd be like a Western. They said it's a little gritty, but it's not dark. It's not like gory. It's not like Game of Thrones, which I think is what people wanted. Some people were like, no, we want like Game of Thrones violent. And I get it, but I don't think Disney's ever going to take Star Wars that far. So by now we're 6 episodes in. I hope that expectation has been tempered a little bit. If you had that expectation, again, Disney didn't set that up. Favreau didn't set that up. The fandom and garbage Star Wars news sites set that up and got that in people's heads. So just temporary, especially as this next week we're going into Rise of Skywalker, don't let your expectations ruin things for you. Because if you think it's going to be one thing just because you read garbage articles and watch weird channels that talk smack about this stuff and they set you up and it leads you to disappointment, just enjoy it for what it is, because it's every moment that you can spend watching and being in Star Wars is better than the real world sometimes. I don't know if you've looked out there. It's pretty rough. All right, next slide. Oh, so Bill Burr. I like this little like over-the-shoulder blaster holder thing. I just took a shot of that because I was like, I didn't think I mentioned that in any of the other shots. I just thought it was cool. That was like sharpshooter, extra gun. He busted it out in the Mexican standoff earlier too. That was cool. That was a pretty neat part of it. The droid Zero. He finds Baby Yoda after chasing him around for a little while. He finds him, and it gets real for a second. It's like, oh no, he was gonna kill Baby Yoda, and Baby Yoda he tries to use the Force on him right before he shoots him with the blaster. Look at Baby Yoda, he's so cute, and of course the droid gets like blown up as he shoots. Or as you think he shoots, and he's like, what? Did I do that? Did I really do that? That scene was great. That scene was so cute. Like, he's like, I'm just going to go back and forth between these two slides. He's looking at his hand like, what? And of course, it was the Mando who shot him from behind. That's like the second or third time they've done that this series, where they're like, oh, someone's going to get shot. And then they're like, oh, it was the Mando who shot him. Third time. First time to IG-11. We thought IG-11 was going to kill the child, and then Mando shoots him in the head. So, gimmick 1. 2 was at the end of episode 4, where he wasn't a snivvy, and I forget what the race was. The guy with the long nose. He was going to shoot the child from sniper range, and Gina Carano's character, Cara Dune, shot him from behind. And so there's 2. And now here's the third time. We thought this droid was going to shoot the baby, and of course, Mando shoots him from behind. So it's cute. It's like a Western trope to do that. But at this point, 6 episodes in, it's like, okay, you're going to do this every other episode, basically. I like it, but it's cheesy. So I'll admit it. So either way, Mando ends up taking out basically everybody on the team except for this Twi'lek, who's a real pain in the butt, but has history with him. And he brings him back. He brings him back to this Rand guy, and he's like, all right, give me the money. Let me get out of here. I did the job. And this is why I feel like this particular episode, just like the last one, we jumped ahead. This particular episode, just like the last one, it didn't progress the story. We didn't learn more about the child. We didn't learn more about the organization or the people coming after the child. We learned a little bit more last episode. This episode was kind of filler. It didn't progress the Mandalorian story so much as it built up his history a little bit, because we knew that he dealt with these people before. but it didn't move the story forward. And to me, that's kind of like we're getting to this weird spot where we have another episode coming out next Thursday. It's going to be a day early next week because of Rise of Skywalker. They've got a little featurette they're going to put in there, so it'll be a day early next week. But I don't know, like, what are we doing here? We started out pretty strong. There's a lot of like heavy story movement, and we're figuring out what's going on, and then we're hitting this like lull kind of. The last episode was and I've enjoyed every episode, but if you look at it story wise, it's kind of not doing anything right now. One of the things that when they were in the Mexican standoff, the New Republic guy had was this, like, they thought he had pressed it, this Republic code signal, so they would bring reinforcements, and they had mentioned it a couple times in the show. And here at the end, of course, when he drops off the slave, they, like, as soon as Mando takes off, they're like, kill him, and they're gonna go double cross Mando. So there's like a double cross and double cross and double cross. But before they could double cross Mando, they realized that signal thing that the Republic guy had was in Homeboy's pocket right here. So next scene we see they figure it out. They're like, oh no, the Republic's coming. And here we see 3 X-Wings roll up on this space station, and Dave Filoni himself is one of the pilots. I love it. I'm not familiar with who this guy is, and I'm not familiar with who she is, but I love that the New Republic is so diverse. That's awesome. Like, it's just cool. It's neat. And then we see Baby Yoda at the. Of course, we got to end the episode with Baby Yoda being cute, just gratuitous. Baby Yoda being cute. I could screenshot this guy all day. Oh, of course, and he gives him the little ball from that's the orb that I forgot about in the toy video I just did earlier today. By the way, there will be a card up there to the Baby Yoda toy video, in case you didn't know. Hasbro announced Baby Yoda toys. But here we go. We see a shot. This is the shot at the very end that we're like, oh, okay, they all survived. But the D. Veronan's holding his head because we thought he lost it. Bill Burr's down in the corner just like mad. And she's looking around all like, ah. So double cross after double cross after double cross. But this episode, what it did do is it made Mandalorian, like I said earlier, look more badass. It did. So it kind of like brought him back up after tearing him down a little bit. So that was nice, but it didn't propel the story forward. So that's my one main complaint. There's a shot of the prison ship, the Republic prison ship that they had. And here's some artwork. Here's some of the concept art. There's a space station. There's the X-Wings rolling up. There's the crew right there. I like that shot. Even though, I don't know if that guy's like, is that Aqualish, this dude? But he wasn't in the show. He just concept art, so it is what it is. This scene was in the show. Bill Burr sticking his head down. And there's the crew. Also my background for this episode. I thought that was just a cool shot. I thought it was a really cool shot of just all of them. And then there's the 2. Was it Jian and Quinn? I think is what it was. And here we go. We see. Oh, that's cool. When the Razor Crest docked on the outside of that prison ship, that kind of wild, bumpy ride. That was a neat scene. I'm gonna have to rewatch that. And again, it sounds weird, but watch when Baby Yoda falls to the ground, because I'm curious how hard he dropped. It sounded hard, and it happened so fast that I was like, oh my goodness. It was very shocking to me. And next up, okay, the HK droids coming towards Mando. Nice. There's another shot of the space station. Now, I don't remember in the show because I only watched it like 1.25 times. That below it looks like Scarif, doesn't it? That planet look a lot like Scarif. Just saying. I don't think it is. I don't know if it said what planet. I need to watch back with the subtitles. I watch it once with no subtitles just so I can enjoy it. And then I watch it again with subtitles so I make sure I catch all the stuff. And, you know, it's nice. And it's good to read. There's a shot of the droids from A New Hope. And then I think this is the final one. This is the hangar where they were working on the Razor Crest. And yeah, I mean, that's what it looked like. It looked right. Yep. And then there we are, the actual hangar that we see in the show. So I'm going to go back and forth. They're very similar, you know, the shapes. They definitely keep to the artwork really well. All right. Overall, I'm going to give this episode... The episode still gets a thumbs up. I enjoyed myself. I had fun. I gasped. I yelled at the screen. So to me, it's a success. But it wasn't the best episode. I could understand when people would be like, it was kind of meh. Story-wise, yeah. But as far as actual fun, it was a fun episode. There was a lot of fun, a lot of cool stuff going on, a lot of battles, a lot of, you know, So I'm sure it has a little something for everybody, but it depends on what you want. It's going to determine how much you liked it or not. Well, guys, that's it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please thumbs up the video. If you like these reviews, you want me to do these every week, thumbs up the video. Make sure you're subscribed and you have the notifications set to all notifications, because I'm cranking out more videos than I have in a long time. So I don't want you guys to miss them, or just come back to the Dano channel. Follow me on all the socials down here. That way, if you miss it on YouTube, maybe you'll see the Facebook link, or maybe you'll see me tweet the link or post something on Instagram about it, because you may not get every notification for every video I put out. And I would love it if you guys would join me for all of them. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. You know I love you. And until next time, may the Force have with you. Goodbye forever.
Hey, you. While you're sitting there wondering what to watch next, ask yourself this. Do you love Star Wars? Do you love being ridiculous? Well, you're going to love being subscribed to the Dano channel, and I would love to have you here. So make sure you subscribe before you go. But if not, click on one of those 2 boxes for a video that I suggest that you should watch.
May the Force be with you. Good. Bye. Forever.